All right, for the first episode of season 8, we are pleased to be joined by Chris Van Jura, the owner of Catalyst Hot Dogs, the sponsor of this podcast, but more importantly, a main staple of Maryland athletics, at basketball and football games, and a part of some of the marketing production out there, usually with a hot dog can. And we're going to break down all of that. But Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, man. Happy to be here. What an intro. I should bring you along everywhere I go. That's, making me feel good. I'm glad to be under the shell. It's an honor and privilege. Thanks for having me out, Mike. Thanks for having me out, Brent. Appreciate it, guys.
We are so excited to have you here. Let's take it way back at the start of Catalyst Hot Dogs. Take us through the beginning.
How far do you want to go back? You want to go back to the 80s, the 90s? What do you want to do?
The 60s, whatever. Take us through it.
Don't age me that way. I mean, I'm older than you guys, but I'm not at all. Look, the long and short of it is we're a classic hot dog joint. I've been in hospitality, been in restaurants for over 20 years. I got my first restaurant job in college. You guys are you undergrads or you grads? I forget. Where are you at right now?
I have one semester left. Mike graduated in December.
All right. So, Mike, you're in the real world. We expect results today, right? That's what's going on. Anybody got my Ghostbusters reference, you get a hot dog on me. But I got my first restaurant job my sophomore year of college, bussing tables at a brewery in Danbury, Connecticut, Western Connecticut. Go. They're the Wolves now, but they weren't the Wolves when I was there. And I made my way through restaurants. But before that, I was a teenager and hanging out in northern New Jersey. Where we got a lot of hot dog joints. And as we were coming of age and we got our driver's license and stuff, we were going out and gallivanting and doing things. I remember vividly there was a pitch and putt mini golf course where I learned how to play the game called Hillman's Golf Land in Elmwood Park, New Jersey. And you go there, we play 9, hit a bucket, and then we go down 46 to the Hot Grill. And the Hot Grill is that's Mecca for me. That's like the place where if I could model Catalyst on anything, it would be the Hot Grill. That's kind of where it started. And as we fast forward through my hospitality journey, made my way through, was wearing a suit, slinging expensive wine, meeting the president, past presidents, and just, living that hospitality life. And then COVID hit. But before COVID, while I was in a suit, making a salary and doing this, I just, I just want to open a hot dog joint. I just want to open a little hot dog. We could feed everybody. It's affordable. It's not exclusionary in any way. And I love hot dogs. So COVID hit, and at the time I had a mortgage and a newborn, and I was like, we got to do something, or I got to do something. And I said, well, it's time to stop talking about it and time to start doing it. And we launched a crowdfunding campaign. An old colleague of mine who I bartended with years ago designed our logo. It's up Franklin. And I mean, I hate to fast forward like 5 years because there's hundreds of thousands of hot dogs and thousands upon people in between, roughly June 2020 when it kind of really started to where we are right now in February 26 or January 26. But yeah, that's kind of the long and short.
So where did the name come from, Catalyst? Where did that come from?
I'm glad I got tissues nearby. I mean, I don't want to make this a heavy podcast, but 14 years ago, we lost my oldest brother. Pretty sudden, kind of came out of nowhere. My parents' firstborn. It's right before Thanksgiving. Like, look, you guys lose if you've lost somebody yet, and you will. Part of life is losing people. That one sucked more so than any other so far. And during that time, this is like the week before Thanksgiving or the week of Thanksgiving. So, and being a sudden loss of a young man in a small town with a wide web of friends, there was a lot of people who were really fortunate that we had showered with love. And over that week, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't remember a lot. Maybe it was the Jameson, maybe it was the trauma. I don't remember a ton from that week, but I do vividly remember being at one of the viewings, and one of his dear friends from the Harrisburg area, which is where he was settled at that time, shared with us something we kind of knew but didn't know all of. He was making bagels. He was taking water from Jersey, and he would bring it back to Harrisburg, and he was playing with making bagels in his home kitchen. And he was already an entrepreneur at the time. He was an event booker for Greenbelt Management, which is his company, and they were doing the concerts at Appalachian Brewing Company in Harrisburg. But that person shared with us, he was making bagels and he had talked about opening up a bagel and coffee shop, and he was going to call it The Catalyst. And that was it. I remember in that moment, I remember turning to the woman whom I was with at that time and saying, "All right, well, that'll be it. That's the name." Which goes to also, in that story, and it goes to say that even in 2012, I was already thinking about what was I going to do, how was I going to open my own thing and create something. But I joke about this, but like the name, it was one of the easiest things we had to do in the beginning. That was there waiting for us.
That was one of the easiest things. What were some of the struggles? What were some of the hardships you had to overcome before you could open Catalyst Hot Dogs?
I don't know, but like before opening, like I don't mean to downplay it. we raised about $35,000. A lot of things came together pretty. I don't like not to get all foo-foo, but like organically or whatnot. Like I found our trailer. We had bought a house in Silver Spring. We were moving from the up northwest Cathedral area, DC, and I had to go on a detour one day. I didn't know where we were going. I'm driving down Randolph Road, and boom, there's a trailer on the side of the road. It was just there. I had been looking marketplace and looking for things, like I hadn't found this, and it was just there. And so we found that, and raised the money, and the menu kind of came together because we were doing simple classics. I had kind of known the menu, known what it was going to be. I would say the fun challenge was deciding on what hot dog we were going to use. Because of my time in restaurants, I had friends who were vendors. I had a friend at the time who was a vendor for a company called Fells Point Meats. Fells Point Meats is based up in Baltimore, nowhere near the real Fells Point, but based up in Baltimore. And I said, hey, I'm working on opening up a little hot dog joint. I want all beef dogs, no pork. I want all beef dogs. Can you give me some samples? And I met him. If anybody knows this, there's a Costco on like South Dakota Avenue or something, like right off of Route 50 in DC. I met him in that parking lot to do like a hand-to-hand for hot dog samples. And he gave me, I want to say we had like 6 different samples. And that was a challenge just in deciding it. But, the joke is like the best and worst decision I ever made was going with Rosetta Farm hot dogs, which is who we use. It's a premium Black Angus dry aged all beef hot dog that you guys know from reading your copy. But it's great. They're just expensive. So, the context that everybody has with a hot dog is like, yeah, give me $1, I'll give you a hot dog. I can't do that. I just can't do that. So I would say that was probably one of the fun challenges. The other challenges, though, like to go back into this, like I'm an athlete. I was 10 years. I was a 3-sport athlete in high school. There was a time where I was going to go to college for football, but my 5'9", 210 pounds soaking wet couldn't really translate. So I ended up being a theater major. But that's another story. We don't have to do that here. But I think the real challenges come on those long days when, for the first, I have a gentleman who's been working with me since we were 6 months old, but he was extremely part-time. So what I'm about to say isn't to exclude him, but it's more of like the challenges come on those long days. When you're when you've maybe sold 50 hot dogs and you've been out for 12 hours and you know you're going to miss bedtime that night because you haven't seen your kid, and you just started, like, you just don't know. You don't know what's in front of you. But I will say, just to wrap this up, is that we were prepared. I had everything I needed. We were marketing heavily at that time. We had kind of found our lane as far as how we market and promote, which is me acting like a schmuck in front of the camera. And, the other stuff just comes from practice and repetition and maintaining our morals and our expectations for ourselves. So that comes through to the guest. So those are the challenges, things that we experienced at the beginning, was just, building, just, being by yourself in a parking lot, Silver Spring, and hoping people show up.
A theater major. Who would have thought that?
Oh, yeah, that's not abundantly clear. I guess I should say, and I don't normally admit to it, but yeah, it's not abundantly clear by me dancing around in a hot dog suit with a cannon.
So what was that? Did you think about having a career in theater? I actually did theater in high school.
Oh, sweet.
So
Well, there you go, man. Then you get it. Anybody who's stood on a stage in front of 150 to, in my case, most people I ever performed in front of was over 100,000 people. It's like, if you've done that,
yeah.
you get a little bit of it. No, I like you. I did the theater in high school. My oldest brother, who I mentioned before, he amongst a lot of things, but that he wasn't the athlete, but he did the plays and whatnot. So I followed him doing that, but I also followed my other brother Billy, who was a professional athlete, played arena ball and the European Football League and whatnot. So I was being an athlete with him and being an actor with Michael. But when I didn't get invited to the football team, but had accepted going to the one university that accepted me, I went there, and I kind of did the freshman year thing where I was just trying to find my way. You guys can fill in the blank with whatever I was doing to not go to class or whatnot. But second semester, I chose to enroll in an acting one class. And I mean, I'd like to say like the rest is history, just to gloss over it, but it kind of is. I got lucky. I auditioned. It was a very small program at the time. Very fortunate. I'm very proud of WestCon. That program has really, really gotten huge. It's a premier New England theater and performance program with an incredible arts school around it that, when I was on my way out, they were in the planning stages and the development stages of that building being built and making that program become what it was. But yeah, that's what I found my way doing. And I found my way into the theater program. Graduated my degree, my BA in theater arts, and then went on. I'm sitting on my SAG card right now. I did some off-Broadway, did some commercials, did a couple very, 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 very small movies that you probably could not find right now. But yeah, we made a run of it, man. I think the thing I'm most proud of now as a 43-year-old hot dog guy is turning on my TV and occasionally I see the guys and some of the gals that I actually performed with. That I worked with on my way through, that they kept going and they found it. They found it. They got that one moment. So
Yeah, I mean, fans at Maryland games get to see a little bit of that. You mentioned, going down on the floor of the field and shooting off the hot dog cannons. How did the partnership with Maryland Athletics start, and then who let you get a hot dog cannon and shoot hot dogs into the stands? Because I love watching it.
That's a great question. Thanks for asking. I have a gentleman by the name of John. He's going to kill me because I'm going to butcher his last name again. John Finneran of Fintel Communications. He is a booster within the University of Maryland Athletics program. He's a longstanding member of the Terrapin Club, part of the PG alum, MoCo alum group. Just had lunch with him the other day. I met John early on in the Catalyst days. I want to say we were either a year old or less than a year old, but around that. He offered me his services, which was he developed and built a website for us, which was far better than the Wix baloney I put up there that was doing nothing for me. And he built us a website. In that time, and again, this is now 4 or so years ago, he was fortunate, or I was fortunate that he shared with me, I'm involved in the University of Maryland, we could work something out, we could book somebody, blah, 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 blah. Well, fast forward a few years later, we started our partnership as the food partner for Denizens Brewing Company right up the street there in Riverdale from campus. And at that point, then it was a little more feasible for us to really be involved on campus. John coordinated a meeting with us. We actually became a member of the Terrapin Club. Shout out Kirby Mills. Hey, Kirby. Good to see you, buddy. Been a long time. And we got ourselves in a Terrapin Club and then met some of the partners from Maryland Sports Properties, who manages your facilities. And that's how we got involved with them. We had our first season with just basketball. And we didn't have an activation in that first year. That was 3 years ago now. They were just putting our name on a banner, and give us a shout out at some point in the game. It wasn't until the second year when I'll be perfectly frank, I was like, hey guys, this is costing a lot of money. I got to do something at it. It's like, how can I do something? And whether it was my idea or Matt Rummel is one of the heads over to MSP. He's my guy there. Jordan Johnson, she's an angel. She's amazing with them as well. Matt and I talked through, and he said, all right, if you buy it, you could do it. So I bought the Canon. and we did some test runs, not on campus with it. We figured out what we had to do, which involves not shooting hot dogs by themselves out of the Canon, because that's a disaster. But we wrapped them up in T-shirts, and that's what we do. It's a lot of fun. It's truly probably the highlight of any day that we get to do it. It's the best part of the day.
Speaking of that day, can you kind of take me through what a game day in your life is like? What time are you waking up, and how long is a day for you? What goes into it?
Yeah, thanks that's a great one too, man. Thank you so much. Because and I say thank you because a lot of the times, what we do, people just kind of think we, in the case with the trailers, they're like, yeah, just show up and sling hot dogs and go home. Like it's like 2 hours before that and 2 hours after it, and not to mention the labor and the booking and the blah blah blah. I actually just got off the phone with one of my colleagues, Paul, and we were talking about Sunday. So for example, Sunday's a conference game for men's basketball. It's a 1 o'clock tip, I think, is what I saw, which means it's an 11:30 gate. And we're contractually obligated to be open at least 15 minutes before gates. Notice how I'm doing this, and I just kind of go backwards. So it's like, all right, so I got to be open at 11:30. Our base is in Rockville, about a 40-minute drive on a good day from campus. Long story, I will get us to the stadium somewhere between 45 minutes and an hour before gates open, which gives us ample amount of time. And thankfully, I have a few students, some recent graduate, and a couple still undergrads of your colleagues that work with us that are on our payroll, that are paid for their time, that earn tips, that are gaining life experience and whatnot, working with us. That was a big part of us in the beginning too, is employing students. They're not volunteers. They're making money. But they'll meet us there. So that gets us there. I mean, long story short, we'll meet at our kitchen at roughly 9 o'clock on Sunday morning. We've gotten it down to a pretty good place where we can control the controllables. We know what we need to do to put together our game plan for the day. And it's just regimented of two guys there. Everybody knows what to get it together. We have some things at our stand, but obviously I'm not leaving product there, like dogs and fries and not dogs. They're not there. We bring all that stuff in house on the day of. And then when a game is over, we're typically leaving the arena when the fans are leaving. We can close 5 minutes before the game's over, but we got to clean, and I got to go through paperwork with concessions, etc. Like I said, we drive 45 minutes back, so it's usually 2 hours before, 2 hours after. So call it a 4-hour outside working window, and then another 3+ hours on site for operations. And we're rocking and rolling. The one thing I want to take a moment here. I know I'm going along with you guys, but what I didn't realize before we started with Maryland is how we would build regulars as well at our stand. Now they're not there for us; they're there because they're season ticket holders. But we are part of their game day experience. They will budget their day around coming and get a Catalyst dog. A lot of our regulars are in that. We're in section 210, Xfinity Center, but a lot of our fans our regulars are based in that world, and some of them come from down below. Some of them come down from the lower bowls as well to come and see us. But yeah, that's a typical game day experience. About 7-8 hour day roughly for a 3-hour game.
Looking ahead to the future, kind of what is your vision for Catalyst, say in the next 5 years? How do you envision this company?
Thanks, Mike. I want to take a moment here to stand up for Mike as well, all right, before I go off here, because I know you guys are going to cut me short here. But I don't like how your colleagues have been treating you this year, Mike. I think your takes are good. I think they come from the heart. They come from a good place, and I stand for you. I'm here. I'm Mike Stan. Okay, I'm here for you.
Someone needs to say that. Someone needs to say that.
He did lose the college football picks, though. I don't know.
That's okay. That's not going to change. That's not going to change life. I lost a couple things in my DraftKings too. It's okay. It's fugazi. It's gone. But Mike, I'm with you. Okay. I wasn't
I
great at
appreciate
math either, and I turned out okay. Right. So, but to answer your question, Mike, the next 5 years, um, we recently shared that we've been approved for an SBA loan, Small Business Administration, which has been a process. It's taken us quite a long time, but we did find the right person that helped us and advocated for us, and we've been approved for a loan. We are in a lease negotiation process on a property that I'm not ready to announce yet, but it's in Montgomery County. It's not far from campus. It's in our world of where Catalyst has grown and built over these last 5 years. We did just announce that we're going to do an investor drive. As I mentioned, we are funded, but I wanted to somehow correlate and bring in our guests and the people that have been a part of us building over the last 5 years. So now we started with a crowdfunding campaign 5 years ago. That was just you giving us money, and I had to open with that. You didn't get that money back. You got a T-shirt, right? Now you can invest in Catalyst. So it's roughly it's like a 9.86% return over 3 years on your investment. That drive is starting on February the 3rd, so a week from yesterday. Well, I don't know when this day is there, but next Tuesday, February the 3rd, that goes live. And that's going to help part of the cost because, geez, I was just reading an email of how much, these fryers are going to cost me. Like everything costs a ton of money, guys. It does. But that's the next step is opening our location. That has been long overdue. And I just, I yearn for having that home base that we can continue to build our community. And then from there, I foresee us finding another college town somewhere down, maybe a little farther south, staying in the Mid-Atlantic. I got, something in my head of where we could go. And, maybe we end up in Happy Valley. Maybe we're down in Charlottesville. I don't know. But I like the idea of staying in a college community. I would stop short of calling College Park a college town, but a college community where there is commerce built around it, things of that nature, and then kind of growing from there. Really what it comes down to is like we're an affordable option. And we want to continue to be an affordable option for the families, for the students, for the high school kids on their first date, for the neons on their break, whoever it may be. But we want to be there and be that option for them, be it next 5 years or even beyond.
Very well. Before we let you go, a lot of listeners of this podcast are obviously Maryland people. For people who have maybe not been to your stand, what is a Jersey dog?
That's a good question, buddy. So if you look at like the Sausage and Hot Dog Council, which is a real thing, they exist. I think they would tell you like a New Jersey hot dog is this pizza bread filled with peppers and onions and potatoes and ketchup and a couple chopped up hot dogs, deep fried, tossed into the pizza thing. And you'd get that at a place called Dickie D's in Newark, Jimmy Buff's in, South Orange. That's what you would find there. For me, the definitive Jersey dog, you could either rip it like you would do at Rutt's Hut where they deep fry it, which we do occasionally. We could rip them at the stands. We got fryers there too. Normally I'm grilling them there. We do rip them on our big trailer for the Isle of Ruts. But for me, it comes down to 3 simple ingredients, not including a damn good hot dog in a bun. Brown mustard, Texas chili sauce, raw onions. That's a Jersey dog. That's the all the way. I'm not going to blow your microphones, but what all the way? That's what it is. I make our Texas chili sauce. It's darn tasty. It's arguably the thing I'm most proud of. But that's a Jersey dog, the all the way.
And why is a hot dog a sandwich?
It's meat between bread. It's that simple. Don't remember, I stood up for you a second ago, Michael. I can take those words back. Okay? I can. It's meat. No, but seriously, you guys are all smart. You want to get into cube rules. It's a taco. It's this. I'm trying not to, drop any expletives here. I'm sure this is a university-backed program as well. But come on, it's meat between bread. And don't get me started on, the meat it's not separated. Guys, I just made myself a breaded chicken cutlet, mozzarella, prosciutto, and arugula sandwich, okay? And the bread was still like this. I worked 4 years at Vicentini Brothers Deli in Lodi, New Jersey, okay? I know a thing or two about making sandwiches. You don't always have to cut it whole. A hot dog is a sandwich.
Very well. Very, very well. Well, on that note, we're happy to kind of come back to our under the shell roots, kind of what goes into all the aspects of Maryland athletics. So, Chris, thank you so much for joining us.
This was really, truly the highlight of my day, guys. I really appreciate it when you reached out to me, said you want to have me on. I was flattered. I'm proud of you guys. I really appreciate it. I did say this. I've been a listener. I've listened to every episode. I'm really proud of everything you guys have done. Stand that line, hold that line, go Terps and no one else.